Are you really planning to leave?
Yes. The idea of eternal life. It's begun to frighten me. I struggle to renounce our conventional wisdom. Death is the means by which life prunes its branches, leaving the trunk to grow strong and tall. We die so that our species may flourish. What would become of mankind were we to halt that process? If unending stagnation is the fruit of our labor, then perhaps we strive for the wrong thing.
Your argument is a rejection of Master Calyx's vision.
I suppose it is. Perhaps such dread would not plague me, were I capable of sharing his perspective on the subject. But I cannot. He and I are too different, in too many ways. I lack his extraordinary genius. I had no illness threatening to cut my life short, no singularity of will to cut away all distractions and focus solely upon research. I have nothing but respect for his determination. The way he overcame his prognosis and seized the means to transcend death itself. But I'm not convinced that this obsession with living is the right path. That's why I've decided to leave preservation and put all my effort towards building a legacy for the next generation to come. Surely you...
Protocol, you understand. There can be no exceptions.
Only wanted to leave and he executed her. I checked the images against the personal data, and the man who pulled the trigger was Director Demetrius himself. Everything I could find on him pointed to a deep infatuation with Master Calyx. The cameras in this room have been out of operation ever since that incident. Given that the recording was erased, I can only assume he was trying to conceal his grisly deed from the other researchers. I am not surprised, given how my parents described their defection from the Institute. They spoke of rushing me through a portal even as Preservation's agents closed in on them. I dared not ask what became of them after, but if it turns out they were captured by their pursuers... They did not regret their actions. Right, the echo. Knowing you saw them as they were, your words give me great comfort. Oh, Cryo. Worry not, Sween. Thanks to the Haven of Living Memory, I was at least able to meet my parents and learn what they stood for. It is enough for me to carry on. Even now, we don't know how much conflict unfolded between your parents and Preservation. But what we do know is that your mother and father cleverly expunged every last trace of their movements. They made sure no one could cross into the source or threaten their child's safety. Right, let's press on, shall we? This tale behind the key deserves a fitting conclusion. To the director's office. let's make our way there. And scanning device. Enter appropriate level of clearance, like this. With a level 3 scanner, a level 3 security card up to the scanner. There we go. Let's head inside. Now to find that data relay. Don't be shy, everyone. Speak up if anything odd catches your eye. Arya, come with me. I might have need of that security card. I see. You want me, huh? Damn, this terminal isn't connected to any outside network, so it can't be the data relay I'm looking for. This office is also smaller than the map suggested. I'm positive we're in the right room. What am I missing? Sorry, Arya. Could I ask you and the others to search the office for any clues to this infuriating puzzle? All I'm seeing is a cluttered side table. Amongst other personal effects, you find what is presumably the director's data tablet. A closed locker stands next to the table. Search the locker. Door to locker swings open easily. It contains nothing to note. You quietly shut the locker door. Examine the data tablet. You pick up the data tablet and begin scanning through the contents. Shutdown protocols. All personnel have undergone processing. Once the shutdown protocols have been completed, I will proceed with my own corporeal dissolution. As long as the key remains in the physical world, we must keep this complex in pristine condition. Whether it be needed for experiments or otherwise, it must be raised to support future operations in whatever capacity Master Calyx requires. To that end, facility equipment will be maintained in stasis mode. Furthermore, a critical component for secure room access will be stored separately to defend against unauthorized entry. Daily reports. Nothing to note, the mystery of the key's activation condition remains unsolved. The key triggered an explosion today. Temporary interdimensional portal verified. Continue attempts to stabilize the core's energy reactions. 13 researchers sustained fatal injuries in the explosion. Memory faculties of 4 personnel sufficiently intact for endless conversion. Remaining 9 designated for ether reclamation processing. Nothing to note. Rejected resignations of 2 Malala researchers. Major incident details in full report. These 2 inept Malala broke with preservation and absconded with the key. Though the fugitives have since been caught and eliminated, we were too late to recover the relic. The only reason we retained our flesh was to serve Master Calyx's physical instruments to conduct his experiments. Deprived of the object of our research, our existence serves no further purpose. I dare not imagine the depths of his disappointment in me. The complex is to be shut down. All personnel will have their bodies reduced to ether, which will be allocated for further experimentation. Memory data will be archived. Any endless conversions will be subject to Master Calyx's discretion. If he does not deem us fit, then we are not deserving of eternal life. Okay. Hi, Guluja. These drawers only have big, heavy books in them. I would have filled them with snacks. Oh, but maybe the books are hiding something. I'll check. I would have filled them with snacks too, buddy. Service station. I've been laying dormant for years, and now active coffee makers already entered the self-cleaning cycle. It appears to have no other purpose beyond brewing coffee, though it remains to be seen when it will be able to do so once more. Hey, Wiplomat. Does this display do anything else? Office shelves. You find a crumpled note wedged between the file binders. Secure room lift access requires passwords to be input simultaneously at terminals in the Proto Lab, the Dawntrail Lab, and the director's office. Perhaps this discovery would be of interest to share. Soul cell storage case. The collection of soul cells may have once belonged to the director. They appear to be empty. Have you found something? Yep. Hink you up. misplaced note, was it? With instructions for accessing a secure room, no less, seems we need to enter a password on 3 different terminals at the same time. There was no such room marked on the map, was there? No, a precautionary measure, no doubt. If passwords are involved, I expect the access lift itself is concealed too. Concealed? You mean by electrope, you mean? Could it be that wall? Well, it seemed odd when I walked past it. Remember what Kakiwa used to say, Shale? Never trust an electrope surface. Electrope isn't always what it appears to be. Oh, of course. Electrope is how you alter the look of all of Solution's 9 floors and walls, isn't it? In which case, it shouldn't be too hard to disable. Another door! I managed to deactivate the projection, but the lock is another story. Didn't that note lay out the password protocol? I say we go ahead and try it. I agree. 2 people should prepare the lab terminals for input, while the rest of us look for passwords here in the office. I'll take the proto lab. Then I'll take the Dawntrail lab. Actually, it might be better if you stayed, Sphene. Your knowledge of Alexandrian's people could be needed here. Yes, you're right. If the passwords are hiding behind clues, they may be something I can help with. I can help too. I have lived my whole life in Alexandria after all. I'll take the Dawntrail lab, and we can keep in touch via communicator to match our timing. Arya, you shall have the honor of entering the office password. Once we've determined what we need, take your place at this terminal. I'll stand by to guide Luke, Lamont, and Kryl through the process. You know, there was that display plate over there, the one with the gems. I thought, since it was made of electrope, mine has some other purpose. I can't find any switches or buttons to make it do anything. Maybe you can figure it out? Alright. Let's go examine it. Two jewels are embedded in this electroplate. You identify the blue gem as a sapphire and the red gem as a garnet. There also appears to be an empty slot for another gem to fill. Alright. I'll keep searching the drawers with the books and I kept searching the drawers with the books and found a cube puzzle made of electrope. Maybe it's probably just a toy, but maybe solve the puzzle. You got it. Let's see if I move this bit and connect the circuit to that one. There. There was something inside. Oh, it's a pretty green stone. I think it might be Alexandrite. They say these gems were so treasured in the past that they named the kingdom after them. Here, you should hold on to this one, just in case. Okay. I see. I should take a closer look at these reports. One of them might have hints to the password. Alright. Display plate. Granted, it appears to be one empty slot for another gem to fill. Let's try to insert the Alexandrite. The gemstone fits snugly into place. Almost immediately afterwards, the glowing lines of a diagram appear on the display, accompanied by a short phrase. A floor plan of this complex? As you continue studying the display, you realize that these shapes correspond to the rooms of the complex in which you now stand. This may be related to the passwords you were looking for. Scrawled phrase. The glowing words appear to be handwritten. Yes, I knew that jewel would come in handy. Let me see. Heat the stones. This must be about the special meanings Alexandrians have for gems. It's an old belief, I think, where each type of gem means something different. But if you ask Sphene, she could tell you more about it. After all, even her name comes from a gemstone. slot contains a garnet. Its place in the floor plan corresponds to the Dawntrail lab. Slot contains a sapphire to the Proto lab. And Alexandrite to the director's office. Hey, Sween. Yes, if you have questions, you need only ask. The symbolism of Alexandrite. Well, I was taught that Alexandrite represents a concept of protection. It is, incidentally, also the origin of Alexandria's name. Oh, are you thinking it has something to do with the passwords? Sapphire and garnet as well, you say? Yes, they all have meanings. Alexandrite, as I said, is protection. Sapphire represents honesty, and garnet symbolizes devotion. We should try these words at the terminals and see if they're accepted. I certainly hope we're right. Michelle. You call on everything we find. Both of you are quick studies. Alright, terminal. You've got enough information to attempt entering the passwords. We're all set to go here. Wuklama and Kyle are just waiting on their passwords. Let's start with Wuklama in the Proto Lab. What should she enter? Proto Lab. I'm just gonna scroll here. Proto Lab was... It doesn't tell me in that chat. It tells me in this chat lab. Proto Lab was the Sapphire. Sapphire represented... Honesty. Ask for Kryl. Should it be devotion? And lastly, we input protection. Right, we have all three passwords ready. Now enter them in the system at the same time. Yes! Oh, I'm so glad that worked. That secure room is the only place we've yet to search. If the data relay is anywhere, it has to be there. We'll venture in as soon as Wuklama and Kryl rejoin us. Alright everyone, time to board the lift and see what awaits us.
This terminal doesn't look special to me, but this is definitely what we're after?
It is, but whether or not it will suffice for our purposes is another question.
The Endless are created using the memories of the deceased. But as memories are, in essence, collections of data, the resultant entities have no physical form. These data entities, as we might call them, have only two methods for interacting with the material world. One of these we saw in Living Memory, where the Endless are granted temporary bodies through the use of corporeal ether. They become much like solid ghosts that one can see and touch. The other method, which ffxiv employed, is the remote operation of a machine. But where do you suppose the Endless are to be found when not inhabiting a physical body? The Endless are memories. And if memories are data, then...
In a world formed of data?
Yes, we suspect they reside in a virtual domain, one contained entirely within an electrope-based machine. We've seen such a realm before, after all.
Oh, you mean like the Alexandria made from the Endless Fiend's memories? It all seems so real.
So this virtual domain, it would also be housed within the Meso Terminal.
But how? I thought we shut down all the terminals in living memory.
You did. And ffxiv's program performed just as she intended. The Meso Terminal itself was deactivated, as evidenced by the failure of the device which was keeping Sfine's body in stasis. Be that as it may, we face a master of electrope engineering. That he managed to partition and protect the sector harboring his own memories is well within the bounds of possibility.
Let us say that the Meso Terminal does indeed contain a second domain, and that Calyx himself resides there. This city, on the other hand, exists here in the source. That being the case, I thought perhaps we could prevent his remote interference by closing the gate to the Golden City, and thus severing the connection between worlds.
Except I tried to close it once already when I visited living memory. The process required administrative authorization, a restriction I assumed at the time had been imposed by the Queen.
But now you think Calyx might be responsible.
Just as I suspected. Even now, security transmissions from throughout the keep are being tapped by the core system and routed elsewhere. Almost every single one has you as its focus. He's keeping track of the keyholder's movements.
Time's up, and what a waste of time it's been. Hoping to find me by tracing security data? That will not be necessary. Through a not inconsiderable effort, I've taken your measure and prepared a force sufficient to subdue you. Come. I invite you to the upper reaches of the Meso Terminal. The storage device which holds my memories is there. Break the memory bank and victory is yours. I, in turn, will seek to wrest the key from you with any and every means at my disposal.
And if we refuse this invitation?
I will wait and continue to convert Alexandrians into Endless. Consider the urgency of the situation and make the wiser choice.
Answer me one question, Calyx. The Endless Fiend. When she was queen, you had her face an impossible task, then manipulated her into using the key when she was at her most desperate. If you can do all that, then why not whisk it away when her plans went to ruin? Why let it fall into our hands?
You pour salt in the wound. That disaster was a miscalculation on my part. As her end drew near, Sphene and her restructured memories had become one with the terminal's control systems. In that singular place, in that singular moment, she wielded an authority greater than mine. Thus she was able to shield you, the neighboring sovereign to whom she entrusted her nation's future. and the hero to whom she entrusted that priceless key. I am unsure to what degree she perceived my presence, but she knew that someone was watching. Does that satisfy your curiosity?
It does. And I'm satisfied that you will take nothing more from this nation. Not one more life, not one more future, not one single smile from another child's face. You hear me? Sorry for losing my temper, but there's only one way we can deal with people like Calyx. Whatever grand future he envisions, someone will be made to pay the price. And I won't let that happen.
He's wrong if he thinks he's taken our measure, especially mine.
If I may, I realize it is not my place to say this. Even so, I must thank you both. On behalf of my other self, allow me to say how grateful I am to have you as our champions.
Well, that was an adventure. May not have been by the method Shale was hoping for, but at least now we know where to find Calyx and what we need to do next. Indeed. Well, I remain curious about Preservation's research into the key. That is an investigation for another day. Then let's head straight to the back room. We should get everyone on the same page before we make our move. Hey, free warp. You love to see it. Damn that bastard Calyx. He waited until I was this close before snatching away my moment of triumph. I'm very uncondescending way he spoke to us. We'll see whose time is up, you smug little weasel. Anyway, I know things didn't go to plan, but we learned a great deal about preservation. Knowledge could come in handy in the days to come. Though I may not be able to contribute much to a direct confrontation, I mean to see this through with you all, providing whatever support I can. However, before I speak with Spain, I'm gonna call it good there. That's what takes so long. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider tossing a like, comment, subscribe. Maybe click the bell for notifications. Also be sure to check out the description below. Various links, social media, Discord, come hang out. Get notifications there as well. And until next time, this is rinimt signing out. Bye!